morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this year's celebration of the Black History Month. Okay, shall we put our hands together for the Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Professor Funke Adeboye. She is a professor of history. Thank you very much. Every year, IADS brings together young and old people to celebrate Black History Month. No thanks to COVID this year, the event has been largely scaled down. Scaled down in the sense that usually we spend a whole week celebrating Black history, but for this year it's just a day. Not even a whole day, maybe 2 hours. And the purpose is to safeguard everybody's health. This year's celebration of Black history is under the theme Black Family Representation, Identity, and Diversity. One of the things we have done is to isolate the key events of today, along with the current trend in the world, to identify a topic for our essay competition. We have brought together students from 5 top schools in Lagos, very top schools. What other schools can you mention other than Queen's College? Zima, Queen's College here. We have the Kobe College, one of the best schools in Nigeria, let's say. We have CMS Grammar School here as well, a top-notch school, the first secondary school in Nigeria. We have ISL University of Lagos. Then we have Danso High School, right? One of the top private schools also in Lagos. IADS, for those who don't know, is an institute that promotes African civilization, African culture in many ways. We do research here. We are primarily a research institute. That is why all the people you have to see here are researchers, first grade researchers who have won several grants. We also do teaching. We have a master's program in African and Diaspora Studies, and very shortly a PhD in African and Diaspora Studies. We don't do undergraduate courses here, but I tell you, after your first degree, in most disciplines, especially in the arts and humanities, you can come here for your master's degree and your PhD under some of the best researchers and teachers you can ever find anywhere.
Special guest, Professor Adesina, philosopher, colleagues from IADS, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to this Black History function. Some Black History Month is a month. For this Black History Month, although we are celebrating it just one day. So on behalf of the Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos, I welcome you to our university, the University of First Choice, the only university that is situated by the Nahum and the waterfront, the nation's pride. We welcome you. I also welcome you to the Faculty of Arts, which is just by us here. That is where we have all types of humanities departments. I welcome you to IADS, the institute that is multidisciplinary and that does interdisciplinary research on Africa. We welcome you. This is a very wonderful occasion. If it were to be the US, this occasion would have been celebrated almost a month, right from 1st of February to 1st of March. And remember the last time we did this, just like the rector said, it went on for multiple days. We're having it for only one day today, and we want you to relax, participate fully in all that is seated before you and enjoy the day. So once again, I welcome you to this wonderful location. Enjoy yourselves.
I stand on the existing protocol. I hereby read the citation of Professor Additional Afolayan. Additional Afolayan was a professor of philosophy at the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. These areas of specialization include cultural studies, African political philosophy, and philosophy of modernity. Professor Afolayan has taught, has lectured, and delivered keynote speeches all over the world. Through his scholarship, the professor has contributed immensely to the discipline of humanity. He is the editor of Altering Knowledge 2013, the author of Philosophy and National Development in Nigeria 2018, the co-editor in the Padre Handbook of African Philosophy 2017. If I want to go on, there are the links to these publications today. I will give you that. Without taking much of the time, sometimes it is good to distinguish between a professor in a particular department and a professor in a particular discipline. With his CV and contribution to scholarship in general, Professor Afolayan has made intellectual marks in the discipline of philosophy and can therefore be boldly and expressly referred to as a professor in the discipline of philosophy. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the keynote speaker for today's occasion, Professor Additional Afolayan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First, I bring you greetings from University of Ibadan. Accept your first and the best. This professor and the best, the premier university in Nigeria. I know the director knows that. He's always glad to be with us at the University of Ibadan. I want to sincerely thank the director. He's my uncle. He's a mentor. I owe so much to him, to his mentorship. I would like the audience to just help me give him a round of applause for the good things that he's doing and continuing to do. The dean is also my auntie. I've known her a long time. When I'm calling on the scholars that I can rest on, she's definitely one of them. So please, another round of applause for the age of the day. Without wasting your time, the time allotted to me is barely just enough for me to throw just reflection points into your mind. And I'm hoping that this point will be things that you'll be able to reflect upon. I'm so glad that I have a large proportion of the audience as students who I am hoping will have the time to ruminate on the issue of the Black family. I agree with the director, it's such an urgent and unique topic for now. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to reach out to the young people in the audience and leave them with some points to just ruminate about. My topic, the title of that topic, I am sure that some of us will immediately be able to relate with it. That topic is taken from the dilemma of Hamlet in Shakespeare's work. To be or not to be. And that dilemma derives from King Hamlet's dilemma, confusion about whether to keep staying in the world with all his suffering, or whether to exit the world and commit suicide. And I have brought that question today into our consideration of the Black Nigerian family. And that is where I took my topic from, to live or not to live. That's like, so the issue I said is that a Black Nigerian family is caught in a dilemma. And the dilemma is, should I or should we as a family continue to stay here in Nigeria with all its post-colonial troubles of poverty, troubles of underdevelopment, troubles of threats to our existence? Or should we leave and travel abroad and be pulled into the racial trouble of blackness? For those who have traveled, you will know that this is immediately a challenge. Chimamanda Adichie says the first time she discovered that she was black was when she entered into a supermarket in the United States, and those who were there were all white. And it dawned on her something that she had never thought about before while she was there in Nigeria. It dawned on her that she was racially black. So the dilemma of to live or not to live is a very serious one that we can compare, like I did here, to the challenge of brain drain that is draining Nigeria of its intellectual power. And here, sincerely, not because I know Professor Falai or anything, but sincerely I want to appreciate what this institute stands for. That I can be here, do cutting-edge research, without trying to go abroad and sell my brain power to develop a different context and a different society. So, now here, please go back. I have a montage, that tells a story. And I've tried as much as possible to ensure that that story is not one-sided. So here, to this side, you have a Nigerian with a baby about to exit this context, this post-colonial context, where I am sure she must have suffered a lot. Now you have a case of a mother and a daughter undergoing serious suffering, torture on the journey. And that journey is what is represented in the video. People having to sleep in the desert, in the Libyan desert, under extreme conditions. People who will gather their lives earning just to get a passage, not only through the Libyan desert, but also through the journey Mediterranean Sea, where most of them lose their life. Now you have sex workers. These are Nigerian sex workers in Italy. Most of them were deceived. Some were encouraged by their parents to go with a full understanding of what they were going to do there. But then the last picture there, of course, I'm sure most of you will recognize at least two people there. There is Anthony Joshua, and there is Boy Joabi, the actor. Okay? These are also people who have made a very significant success of their life in the diaspora. So I come back to that question. Please go back a slide. So I said here, the post-colonial creates the push factors of poverty and underdevelopment. These are factors that push you away from here. I mean, you are in your area and there's not been electricity for a month sometimes. We all recognize this. Barack Obama, who became the president of the United States, and a black person occupied a White House. That White House was purposely named a White House. It wasn't just a fancy name. Because it was expected when it was built that it would be only white people that would occupy it. Okay? But I said that this diaspora is also the location of loss, deep loss, the loss of the self, and also the experience of deracination. I've had people who have been there for countless years, and we can no longer consider them to be African. They are no longer in tune with the reality here. It no longer makes sense to them that when their people die, maybe their father, that they don't come back home. Just like that. So the point is, what implication does family go? In my class, I gave a thought experiment that if the United States Embassy were to declare a 1-week visa-free period, what do you think will happen to the population of Nigeria? 1 week visa-free. In other words, anybody that steps in, you get a 2-year visa free. What do you think will happen to? How many of you here will apply? Oh no, I was expecting that all of you will just raise your hand. Okay? Now, I have decided to cite this Windrush affair in the United Kingdom to bring home the point about the black Nigerian family. Now, the Windrush affair refers to the ship, the MV Emperor Windrush, that brought many families from the Caribbean, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, and the rest, in 1948. Between 1948 and 1971, thousands of families in the Caribbean migrated to the United Kingdom. And they stayed there for decades, until 2018, when Britain suddenly discovered that they came in illegally. And people who supposedly have taken roots, I mean, if you have stayed in the context for 3, 4, 5 decades, and you've given birth, most of them, the case of Michael Braithwaite is so instructive. At 2018, he already had grandchildren. He came to the United Kingdom when he was just 9. Do you understand? And you will think that you could, in fact, the Windrush generation laid the foundation of what we can call Black Britain. They contributed to the cultural development of Britain as at the time they came. But in 2018, Britain decided to uproot all of them and send them back to the Caribbean. And Braithwaite summed up the experience. He said, my whole life was like coming to an end. My entire life was as if the carpet was just pulled on my entire existence. The last slide. So, just 5 reflection points for you to think about. 1, caught in between the post-colonial predicament and the severe suffering. Whether we like it or not, we are in the context of suffering. induced by our post-colonial situation. Okay? So what in between that and the racial experience of blackness, how do we begin to define the Nigerian family, the black Nigerian family that is caught in between and the identity and existence? How do we begin? We are celebrating to this Black History Month the black family. So a family that migrated from here to there, spent several decades, how do we begin to think about the existence of such a family? The current term that we use now is that they are Afropolitans. You know, they are families that are Africans, even though most of them were not born in Africa. They have parents who were African. For those of you who already know, Haile Selassie is considered herself to be an Afropolitan. Okay, Ghanaian mother, Nigerian father. Okay, born in the United States, went to school in Switzerland, did some other things. You know, so you have this cosmopolitan education, upbringing. So they consider themselves to be Afropolitan, even though they do not have that deep-seated connection with Africa. But their parents were Africans. How do we define who they are? Of course, we consider them to be part of the black family. But who are they really? Number two, is the experience of suffering the same from, say, Nigeria and the United Kingdom or Germany? Especially when you think that most Nigerian families that get to that place, they live within the marginality of those societies. They live at the margin. They live in the informal sector. Most of them keep running around so that the system will not catch up with them because they've not obtained their visa or their permanent residency. So the concept of suffering, is it the same everywhere? Or is suffering different in the United States more than in Nigeria? Is the experience of success diminished by the loss of the self and the extremities of racism? The experience of success. So the picture of those people we saw earlier on, how is that success moderated by racism? Now, racism is a real thing. In 2018, sir, I was in Canada, and then we entered into a shop, an electronics store. Wanted to get some electronics. And then immediately we got there, we were greeted, how can we help you? Okay, we are good. We just want to look around and get something. And in every house that we get to, there was always somebody there, you know, who will come and say, and then I was wondering about 3-4 times, somebody came to say, can we help you? It was my friend that says, sir, we are being profiled already. Any black person that enters into a store is ab initio a thief. You came to steal, so you must be monitored at all times. Then in the evening when we got home, good enough, there was a documentary that had about 4, subjects. A Canadian, a black, a Jew, and one other. And they asked them to go into several places. And their reception were different. The black person entered into an estate agent's office. The guy did not even stand up, did not even look up, just gave the black guy a default response. There is no vacancy. But when the white guy came in, he stood up, he was so deferential. What can we do for you? Oh, we have this range, this range, this range, and this range, and on and on. So the question is there any level of your success where you will not encounter the extremities of racism. Did Barack Obama not encounter it? Was there no campaign to prove that he was not born in the United States when he was campaigning for the presidency? The penultimate point now. When is an audacity of hope, or when does an audacity of hope become brutally transformed into frustration of existence for the black Nigerian family there? Again, in the United, I have a friend. Please listen to this. When the daughter was 3, the daughter asked a fundamental question from the dad. She said, "Daddy, am I black or brown?" And the daddy did not know how to answer. That's a black Nigerian family. He said, "Daddy, am I black or brown?" Now, where do you think the question came from? From school. Because the child will have been profiled as a black person. Of course, you know in football, you know how many of those black footballers have been profiled, called monkeys on the field. And then recently, about 3 days ago, the daughter came back. She said, "Daddy, I now know how black we are." And the daddy was, the daddy was trying to explain socially constructed blackness. For the daughter said, no. He said, "We are black in the same way that Martin Luther King is black." In fact, the child specifically mentioned the Black History Month. He said, "We are black in that way." Again, the daddy was so confused. How do you begin to explain blackness to a 10-year-old girl who sees it on the road, who sees it in the school, who sees it in the store, in Walmart, and all those places? The child you have to speak Yoruba to in the house, just to ensure that he doesn't get lost or she doesn't get lost in a racially segregated society. So how do we begin to come to terms with the experience of the black Nigerian family that has migrated because something is just terribly wrong with our condition here? Almost on a daily basis, people are moving. Your wife will speak to you in parables at home, sir. In parables. And you see, your friends are there now. And how I wish that these my children will also be in the United States or in the United Kingdom. Have you heard of this so and so? Is there no thing that will take all of us there? Parables. A hemorrhaging family trade for Nigeria's national integration. People are dying. And people feel that the best thing they can do for their children is to take them out of this terrible situation. So I leave you with these points of reflection, especially the young ones among us. How do we begin to define? Is it just sufficient to simply say, "I want to leave Nigeria"? If you enter into Professor Farola's house in Texas, I know what he knows about it. It is filled with artwork. All this beautiful artwork. It is an Africanized home in the heart of Texas. And I think it is an attempt by Baba to keep himself rooted in the African world. How many people have that capacity to keep yourself rooted in the diaspora, where you experience a deep sense of loss because you are outside of where you are supposed to be? Thank you very much.
We don't have any comforting words, except that the black man wears a badge of contempt anywhere he goes. The black man wears a badge of contempt. Even if white people pretend, deep in their hearts, they are full of content for black people. An example is what just recently happened in America. Trump and all of that. Trump represents mainstream white America in terms of their feeling towards black people. When you see a white man run on the streets of Brazil, he's an athlete. When a black man runs on that same street, he's a thief, fleeing away from armed robbery. When you sit next to a white man in a train, he holds his pocket and wallet. Because the next thing he expects that you steal the wallet from his pocket. No white man, well, maybe no, it's too extreme, but I tell you, 90% of white people have no form of respect for the black person. That has been my experience. I don't know whether I've told my experience to too many people. I would have been teaching University of Florida since 1997. One of the reasons why I couldn't and didn't was I am too sensitive to racial slurs. No white man believes any black man is intelligent, even if they pretend. How did we get here? That is the question. How did we arrive at a position where nothing good is expected from the black person? If you go back to the history of philosophy, you will find that some of the most prominent philosophers were those who were extremely racist. Nothing good is expected from the black race. There are still so many white anthropologists who believe the African is still primitive, savagery. How do we solve all of this? Most sometimes as well we play into their hands by what we do, what we say, what we believe. If you hear some of our colleagues, even in university, and speak of white people, you will always believe that they are God themselves, not even next to God, God themselves. And the way we deride our own people. It's unfortunate we have found ourselves here, but we must get out of it. And that is why cutting-edge research is important.
History has finally repeated itself. Mass
and full of healthy condiments. The black tree with green fruit roaming around. Even when we taste and the strength is less, we stand tall at the face of adversity. Our black blood running through our veins keeps us strong in times of distress.
The blood and the sweat. The sweat of our work. The work and the labor. The labor of our forebears.
Today, we celebrate the black youth, the legacy, ancestors, and the knowledge. We are black and proud.
Afternoon, everybody. I'd like to stand on existing protocol. My job is simple. Just to tell you the procedure for selection of the winner, and then I'll read the winning essay. 5 schools participated in the competition: Ikobi College, Queen's College, CNS Grammar School, International School Lagos, and Danso. Each school presented 2 candidates, so there were 10 candidates in all. On the 19th of February 2021, the 10 contestants were invited to the Institute to write the essay entitled "The Black Family and the COVID-19 Pandemic." At the end of the writing competition, the essays were given to 2 experts to grade. Each essay was graded by the 2 experts, and 2 scores returned for each participant. And the average was found for each candidate. And we did that to ensure fairness through peer review. The following criteria were used in grading. We looked at content, organization, expression, as well as mechanical accuracy. So I'd like to invite the director of the Institute, Professor Muyiwa Falaye, to announce the winner. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, the Deputy Director of the Institute. Again, let me recognize and acknowledge the presence of the Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Professor Olufunke Ashake Abiboye. Incidentally, she is my immediate successor as the Dean of the Faculty of Arts. This has been a very competitive essay writing competition because these are very top schools as well. Last year, the essays were written from home, and I wasn't quite happy about that because somewhere in my subconscious, I wasn't too sure that the students themselves would do essays. The essays were extremely good, and I felt, maybe not the mama or the teacher I can let us see them see I write it in a very before. So that whatever we see, we get. So this year, the essays were written here. And we had 10 essays, 10 very good essays. Under the theme, Black Family and something, and coronavirus pandemic. Very apt topic at this time. Let me declare up front. I do not know how these essays were assessed. I was not privy. The only thing I got is this resource sheet. And I know why I'm saying so. I'm saying so because 2 of the schools who wrote the essays were my secondary schools. So let nobody accuse me of bias. Let the results are announced. I went to a good college, I went to St. School, but I did not read the essays. I don't know how, even the day they were writing the essays, I was not even around. So I have nothing to do with the results at all. I have to make that very clear. The results. Third position from Igbobi College. Ekweme Great Children. Where are you? Ekweme Great. Please step forward. Step forward quickly. That is the third essay, third winning essay, third prize winning essay from Igbobi College. Ekweme Great Children. 72%. The second essay, by 0.5, beat the third essay by mere 0.5. So the 2 essays are very close. One is 72, and the next one coming up 72.5 by now Gucci Prosper CMS Grammar School Nigeria. And the winning essay for 2021 Black History Month, Institute of African and Diaspora Studies, is also from CMS Grammar School Nigeria, George Taylor Highway. First and second, Igbobi College, the writer of the winning essay to read his essay to us himself. To read the winning essay to us. Mr. Master, how old are you? You are still master of this time. Okay, Mr. Propose yourself.
You told me Black Family as COVID-19 pandemic. The acronym COVID-19 represents coronavirus. This disease came to December 2019 in China, Wuhan to be precise. Was initially recognized as Spanish flu, as a Spanish virus, which was brought to the world in the mid-century. Coronavirus is on the family called coronavirus. 100 days. Coronavirus can therefore be defined as a group of RNA-related virus. This causes harm to both flowers and birds. Coronavirus has led to a substantial number of deaths all around the world. The same way black families suffer segregation, racial discrimination. It was also the same way the common Spanish law became a global trend in Norway, health and culture of the world. The black family has suffered the world because of this pandemic. Research has shown that black families are disproportionately affected by COVID-19. This then becomes a question: is COVID-19 linked to the black family? We all know this was caused because of protests, social gatherings, and so on. These were means used of new order against social discrimination. We are also taken back as second-class citizens. Therefore, we are not to parents. The black family is also victims of health-related issues such as diabetes, asthma, and so on, which are both illnesses or diseases coronavirus. Furthermore, the outbreak caused the destruction of the movement of people, other than the impact on goods and services. These demonstrate the needs of being received protest. Protest is more or less public opinion. But if this purpose, the black family took the big social media platforms. Examples are Instagram, Twitter, etc. It then led to a trend. The pandemic caused an embargo on goods and services that I said earlier. Embargo is the restriction of the movement of goods and services. Many business personnel, entrepreneurs, traders, and so on look forward to this as a source of revenue, especially in Africa. The embargo therefore resulted in low income rates and an increase in the level of poverty, not only in Africa but around the world. In Africa, we still believe the same as knowledge is power or education for presidency. The pandemic caused reforms in that department. This is related to the adoption of the electronic learning, also known as e-learning. It was quickly adapted to residents in the urban areas, but the minus for those in the rural areas, such as the villages and so on. This will lead to a high rate of literacy for the country and content at large. Despite all this, there were still some advantages. It created an insight which many people were not investing on, to trade. It is therefore the buying and selling of commodities online. This insight created for self and a source of revenue. It also saved economies, for example, Nigeria. Nigeria was one of the first countries to show stability. Those defined for those who are main source of revenue of the country, abroad. Nigerian government then decided to protect by selling home businesses online. So many citizens of Nigerians, those who own and own become very dependent on the government. Moreover, the restriction of movements of people from all countries reduced global experience. Global experience is divided into perspective, culture, beliefs, and so on, or the country or which is not related to one school or study. It then occurs to us, forget all these media, such as schools, laptops, etc. The policy therefore regarded as illegal. Many citizens don't live in their countries. In addition, it is already ubiquitous, which is to say, it's around the globe. Family values have to stand to survive some conditions, one of which is heat. Working from Africa, our weather is very good to us. Therefore, we need to make it throughout the black family. In conclusion, this global trend was an important symposium of public enlightenment. Enlightening us as members of the black family on what is happening to our families abroad and how to love them. For example, in the United States, the black family will deal with this recently. And most people in Africa don't know about it, up to an average of the disease for coronavirus. Many people were told to stay at home. Many people were told to stay at home, but the speed of one is still working out, including both whites and blacks. The whites were either sanctioned or quarantined when the blacks were killed. Example, George Floyd. George Floyd was one of those people. But I thought also you could tell us as well. Most Scotland, for example, with French County, etc., were subjected to this abuse. All these are many more. Let's be present for movement rather than matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. George Taylor. This essay will be published on the IAGS website. Will be published on the IAGS website. So, if you have not listened attentively this morning, You can go to the IAGS website and read the essay and judge by yourself whether you think the essay is worthy of the prize or not. I think the assessors have been very objective in reaching the conclusions, making this the winning essay. Mr. George Taylor, what class are you, sir? SSD. Are you the senior prefect? Yes, sir. Oh, okay. But I can see a big part of the chest. Well, for the next 1 year, you are an ambassador of the IAGS of the Institute. We will get more information about that after this event. There will be a number of things that we will expected to do. We will so told afterwards. We have cash prizes. I would rather have the plaque than money anyway, because we finish spending the money, and that's the end of it. But the plaque will remain forever. Even your children unborn will see what you did when you were in school. Unlike some people who will lie to their children who are always coming first, with no evidence to show. This is an evidence of what you have done. The three of you will show your children that this is a proof that you are one of the best when you are in school. If I gave you the money, you simply end up in fertilizers or somewhere and finish the money and go to the toilet. And that's the end of it. So that is the reason why we chose to give the school money and the winners the plaque. The small prize winner is you can see how visible the plaques are. The third winning essay one is goes to great Chizerin Ekweme of Bloom College. The second prize of 25,000 naira to the school, and the plaque goes to Nabuchi Prosper, also of CMS University. The teacher can come for the cash prize. Teacher of CMS University. Teacher, please. And the winning essay from CMS Grammar School, George Taylor, Taiwo Taylor.